Okay, good evening. I just want to check up, are you able to hear me? Okay, good. Welcome to all. We're expecting more people, but I think we'll start now. This is about the PRINCE2, an integrated blending learning approach that QI, from QI we are going to offer about that. So, this webinar will enable you to gain an understanding of what is PRINCE2, what is the approach for managing PRINCE2, and also the roles and responsibilities, and also get an overview of blended learning approach for PRINCE2. We want this session to be very interactive, so please type in the chat request as you go along so that we can answer them as we go across. Many of you may be knowing about PRINCE2. PRINCE2 stands for Project in a Controlled Environment. This is a de facto standard that is used for all the projects in the UK and also in many other countries like Australia, Malaysia, Middle East, and also in South Africa and many other countries. Now, many of you know what's a project. PRINCE2 defines a project to be a temporary organization that is created for the purpose of delivering one or more business products according to agreed business case. If you look at every company will face change. So, if you look at the next slide, there is always a sort of a challenge between running the business and changing the business. Running the business we call BAU, business as usual, and change the business is due to internal and external factors. Now, can you type in which one gives money, running the business or changing the money? Which one generates revenues? Please type in your responses. Whether BAU gives more revenue or changing the business gives more revenue. Right, Jitendra, absolutely correct, running the business. To give an example, okay, am I audible now? I'm just cross-checking. Am I audible now? Because many people are able to see, they are able to hear. Good. To take a simple example, let's take an example of a car, automotive. Toyota, for instance, when they designed the version 2 of Corolla car, the production of the first car is due to change, but manufacturing of the 100th car is running the business. Now, what are the real challenges when a company faces between balancing, changing the business and running the business? So please type out what are the major challenges companies can face between changing the business and running the business. You can keep typing, I'll just go across. Shabuddin, it is audible to others. Please check up your microphone. Question again to give back. What are the challenges that business face during running the business and changing the business? Which are the challenges? Couple of people are typing. I'm waiting for them to give their responses. Okay, Jitendra says a lot of risk involves with new business. That's right. What are the other challenges that companies face between running the business and changing the business? Absolutely, Manoj is very correct. Capacity constraints. The same resources which run the business are also used for changing the business. So companies need to strike a balance between what resources need to be allocated for running the business and changing the business. Prince2 treats it with a sort of an integrated element. There are four integrated elements which goes a part of Prince2. Principles, which talks about governing factors which need to be there in all Prince2 projects. Themes, which are all 7 themes which are all obligatory in every Prince2 project, which include business case, organization, quality, plans, risk, change and progress. And processes, there are 7 processes in Prince2. We'll be briefly touching upon them, like starting of the project, initiating a project, etc. And all these are all constrained in a project environment, because Prince2 by itself may appear to be quite daunting, but it needs to be scaled by the project manager appropriate to the context of the project. So let's see what are the 3 business project interests which are all faced by every project. The first thing I would ask you to look the Prince2 from a customer perspective, because some of you may come from supplier perspective. Supplier, I mean like a consulting company, etc. But we need to look at Prince2 from a customer perspective. Like for instance, in a current case, we can look at Toyota Corporation. Then it makes much more sense to learn Prince2 rather than from a supplier perspective. Right. So let's look at the 3 project interests which are faced in every project. The first is business. The products of the project have to meet a business need. So in the current example, the CEO or the COO or the CFO of Toyota Corporation can represent the business interest. User interest, they could use the outputs of the project to realize the benefits after the project is complete. They could also operate, maintain and support the project output. So they will also be taking from the impact the users. So can you type in who could represent user interest in the Toyota Corp project? Which departments could represent the user interest in the Toyota Corp project? You can type in your responses. I'll repeat the question. Which departments in Toyota Corporation can represent user interest? I'm going ahead. Suppliers are those people who provide necessary skills and produce the project product. Right, Jitendra talks about marketing. You are right, absolutely right. Marketing department, sales department, engineering department could be possible, but more from manufacturing. So users could be 2 people, marketing department, sales department, who reap the benefits, and also the assembly department which manufacture the car. So users could be both these interest. Suppliers are those people who provide necessary skills, produce the project product, who could be internal or external. For instance, if you look up every project, internal IT, internal HR, they come from internal supplier, and external consultants, external suppliers, they could come from external perspective. So amongst business, user and supplier, typically business and user come from the company side. When I say company side, I mean customer side, like Toyota Corporation. Suppliers could come from either business side or from the external perspective. Again, whenever you got doubts, feel free to chat and we can immediately exchange our responses. If you look at Prince2, there are 4 layers which represent a project. The topmost layer talks about corporate or program management, which commissions a project. The next layer talks about project board, which is responsible for directing the project. We'll see who will be there in the project board. They will consist of senior user, senior supplier, and the executive. Project manager PM is responsible for managing the project, and delivery responsibility of the technical deliverables lie with the team manager. So this is a 4 layered structure which is used in Prince2, and this is one way we say it's a better advantage as compared to PMP, because PMP generally we talk about project manager and a sponsor and maybe team manager. It doesn't too much talk about supplier role and also user role. So Prince2 talks about a sort of a package who is above project manager, who is parallel to project manager, and also the team manager. Right, Jitendra is asking what's the difference between PM and TM. As per PRINCE2, project manager is responsible only for managing the project. Team manager is responsible for delivering technical deliverables. For instance, if you are developing a software product, project manager will be responsible for managing the deliverable, but the actual hands-on work in coding, testing, etc. Will be taken care by the team manager. Is it okay, Jitendra? Although many times PM may be TM also, but these are two separate roles. Now, this slide may be a little small, but let's understand what it is. The topmost layer in a PM team structure consists of corporate or program management. Project board consists of three representatives: senior users, executive, and senior suppliers. For instance, in the Toyota Car project, who could be senior users? Can you type in who could represent the senior users and who could represent the senior suppliers? Senior suppliers are the heads of or the representatives of suppliers, and senior users come from head of marketing, etc. Executive represent the business interest, and collectively they are called project board. Project manager reports to the executive, and team managers report to the project manager. As you can see, there can be a couple of team managers who are all reporting to the project manager. There is one more role called assurance, business user and supplier project assurance. Let's see why is it important. Typically what happens is in a large project, the project board people are all very busy. You can't go to them daily for approvals, etc. But they need somebody for an oversight of the project, what's really happening in the project. So each of the senior user, executive and senior supplier will delegate the responsibility to project assurance. So project assurance report to the project board, but they can directly interact with the project manager and the team manager. The next role is project support. Project support supports the project on behalf of project manager and the team manager. So typically project support can take care of things like configuration management, some logistics like travel management, visa management, etc. They can take care of that. Change authority is one role. Change authority takes care of certain change requests which can be delegated by the project board. Now, this may seem to be a complex structure, but we need to appreciate a large project. There should be business interest, there should be user interest, and there is a supplier interest. By having three representations, what are we gaining? What is the advantage of having three interests? You can type in your responses. I'm going further. Project board consists of executive, senior users, and senior suppliers. If you look at every project board, it should display authority, credibility, ability to delegate, and availability of key factors for success. What we mean is, since project board people are very senior people, those people should be able to give decisions and authority and delegate the day-to-day work to the project manager. And project board is the single authority for communicating with corporate or program management. Let's look at the role of the executive. Though the project board is responsible for the project, the executive remains ultimately accountable for the project success and is the key decision maker. So if you look at the board, there are three representations from the user interest, supplier interest, and the business interest. The chairperson of the board will be the executive. So the executive is appointed by the corporate or program management during starting of the project. Now I will ask you one question and I want responses from you. What is the difference between a project and a program? To repeat the question, what's the difference between a project and a program? You can type in your responses. Okay, as they are typing, I'm going ahead. The executive will usually responsible for appointing the project manager, and together they appoint the PM team. Right, what Subhash said is correct. Project is a temporary endeavor, and what Subhash said, a program consists of multiple interrelated projects. That's absolutely correct. Even programs are temporary, projects are temporary, but projects typically run for months and programs typically run for years. So the programs are common for all projects. Maybe partially correct. What I'm telling is some of the projects may not be directly related to the program. They can be related to the portfolio also. Anyway, the point is if the project is part of the program, the executive may be coming from the program management. So the program manager himself could be a executive for the project. The executive is responsible for the business case. We'll talk about business case slightly later. So the way I see it is, project manager is first taking up, executive appoints the project manager, and together they take care of how this has to be taken for other senior users and senior suppliers, etc. Let's look at the senior user. The senior user is responsible for specifying the needs of those who will use the project product. So typically senior users can come from head of marketing, head of let us take sales, etc., and they will be reaping the benefits. So the senior user specifies the benefits, customers' quality expectations and acceptance criteria, and is held to account to demonstrate if forecasted benefits are indeed realized. Now, I want one input from you. What is the difference between customers' quality expectations and acceptance criteria? How do you differentiate both of them? What is the difference between customers' quality expectations and acceptance criteria? Any thinking? Please type it out. Okay. I'm waiting for others to type so that I can go to the next slide. Okay, acceptance criteria related to the tolerances. That's what Manoj says, partially correct. And Shabuddin is typing about the acceptance criteria and also the customer's quality expectations. Well, let me paraphrase. Customers' quality expectations may not be measurable, and the acceptance criteria are all measurable. To give a small example, suppose the customer or the head of marketing says, I want a car which should be world class. That becomes more like an customer's quality expectations. Whereas the product is measured for fit for purpose, that is from acceptance criteria. So it becomes the responsibility of the project manager to convert the customer's quality expectations into acceptance criteria. Senior suppliers are the people who supply resources. So they could represent the interest of those designing, developing, facilitating, procuring and implementing the project product. Most of the cases senior suppliers can come from outside, whereas business interest and user interest will be coming from the company itself. Senior suppliers could be coming from outside or they could be internal also, like internal procurement, internal HR, etc. We talked about project assurance. Now, the major reason why project assurance is in picture, project board are the people who have to give authority, delegation to the project manager, we saw that. But then most of the cases project board member are extremely busy. So they need to delegate the responsibility to project assurance. So typically there are three assurances called business assurance, user assurance and supplier assurance. Business assurance will report to whom? Can you type? Which role the business assurance will be reporting to? So please type in which role the business assurance will be reporting to in the project board. I'm going further. Project manager is responsible as the single focus for handling day-to-day responsibilities of the project. Okay, business assurance will report to the executive. because executive represents the business interest. User assurance will report to the senior user, and supplier assurance will report to the senior supplier. So in a way, if you look at that, assurance is more like a mini board, because the board people are quite busy. They won't be getting into nitty-gritties of the project. The subject matter expertise, SME inputs, will be provided by the project assurance, and they will be reporting to the project board. Now, project manager is the single focus for day-to-day handling of the project. Now, who gives authority for the project manager? Obviously, project board. Now, project board, once it gives authority for stage by stage, it becomes the responsibility of the project manager to run the project. Also, if there is no separate team manager assigned, project manager doubles up as the team manager. So let us look at various roles which are played by the project manager. Project manager produces multiple documents like project brief, benefit review plan. We'll talk about them later. PID, project initiation documentation, stage plan, exception plan, and work packages. Also, project manager prepares multiple reports, including highlight report, which is like a fortnightly report going to the board, issue report, end stage report, lessons report, exception report, and end project report. Couple of registers are maintained by the project manager. Issue register, risk register, daily log. Daily log is more like a diary of the project manager, and the log containing all the lessons. PM is also responsible for making sure that the project's products are all assessed for risk and also issues and taking care of their quality. Now, what's the role of the team manager? Team manager ensures that the products allocated by the project manager get done and prepares team plans and sends checkpoint reports to the project manager. So essentially what the PM will be doing is he will be collating all the checkpoint reports to produce a highlight report. Now, what are the considerations in which you would require a team manager? There are a couple of reasons where you will ask for a team manager. Now, for instance, the team may be geographically distributed, so we require location heads, or it may be too complex, technically too complex, techie type of project where you will require team managers, or maybe in some cases it will require certain skills which the project manager may not have. So please remember, as per PRINCE2, you are a project manager, you are not a team manager, you are not expected to do the teamwork, but in reality some of the project managers could be doubling up as team manager. Now, what is the problem if the project manager doubles up as the team manager? You can type it your responses. I'll repeat the question. What is the problem if project manager also performs the team manager role? You can type it your responses, please. What are the problems if PM also performs the team manager role? Right, as people are typing, let me go ahead. Project manager allocates work packages to the team manager. Manoj talks about insufficient time. That's possible. Any other responses? I'm not getting other responses. What are the problem if PM also doubles up as the team manager? Insufficient time could be one possibility. What are the other issues? So, work packages are all used to allocate work to the team manager. Right, Manoj talks about priority clashes. That's very important. Because you need to double up as a team manager, he'll be also producing technical deliverables and management deliverables. So which one has to be done where it can create more an issue. As per PRINCE2, team manager is not only responsible for developing the products, but also running through to quality review and getting them for approval. Project support is a role which supports the team manager and the project manager. Especially project manager can be in a large project can be having a lot of issues about time management, like timesheet management, and also some logistics issues like visa management, travel management, etc. So the project support can be assisting the project manager in these things. Especially the Project support is responsible for configuration management. I think some of you know about configuration management. So taking care of master control, version numbering, right? They're all taken care by the configuration librarian who belongs to the project support. Now, this slide may appear to be bewildering, but let us quickly run through that. There are 7 processes in PRINCE2. Input to starting of the project is project mandate. Now, can you type in who provides project mandate, which role provides project mandate? You can type in your responses. The output is the project brief. There is a toll gate which is approved by the process called directing the project. Typically, the board has to approve the project brief. After project brief is approved, we get into initiating the project. So the output is the PID. Manoj, you can say International Trade Division. Okay, right. For the Toyota car project, it could be International Trade Division. Project mandate is provided by the corporate, not by the senior user, by the corporate. So project brief is the first document which is produced, then initiating a project, then PID is coming into picture. Typically PID stands for project initiation documentation, like a plan, which gets approved by the board again. Then the project manager will start controlling a stage. Please remember, as per PRINCE2, there is a macro level project plan and there is a micro level stage plan. So you don't produce all the stage plans in the beginning. What is the advantage of producing one macro level project plan and one micro level stage plan for control? Can you please type in? I'll repeat again. What is the advantage of having two plans, one macro level project plan and one micro level stage plan for control? What is the advantage of having two plans for control? Few people are typing. I just wait for a minute for their responses. Right, macro level for top management. Manoj is correct for the board. Somit is also correct. Macro level give high level picture and is helpful for senior leadership. And micro level is for the day-to-day activities and traction. Absolutely correct. So project manager will be grappling with the stage plan. That's why it's called controlling a stage. So when during controlling a stage, the project manager will allocate work packages to the team manager, get back the work packages and updating the stage plan. When you go to the end of the stage, the specialist products are all updated, and managing product delivery, we talk about the day-to-day work of the team manager with the project manager. When you finish a particular stage, the next process you get into is managing stage boundary. So the very word managing a stage boundary means you have reached the end of the stage. You need to take a complete check of what you have done in the stage, update the project plan and report the progress to the project board. So the project board is updated with project plan and stage plan, and the project board gives approval for one stage at a time to the project manager. So like this we keep on going stage by stage, and once you finish the last stage, you go to the closing the project process. So the end project report and final user acceptance are taken, and project closure notification is issued by the board. So essentially there are 7 processes in PRINCE2. Let us quickly run through the processes at a macro level. Again, this slide may be little bewildering. We'll send the slides. We'll tell what really happening here. Starting with the project, it's called pre-project. The input to starting of the project is corporate or program management giving project mandate. So executives appointed first. Executive appoints the project manager, and project manager opens up a daily log and lessons log to capture the lessons, etc. Then executive and the project manager together form the project board. Okay, project board means, as we said, senior user, senior supplier, and also the assurance, etc. will be there as a part of the project board. To the extent possible, it will be prepared here. Then project product description will be created by the project manager. For instance, in the Toyota car project product description is the end deliverable, which is the version 2 of, let us take, Corolla car. So the top management would like to know how the final car would look like at a first cut that will be produced by the project manager. Similarly, at that time, the outline business case, the first cut business case will be prepared by the executive. That's called outline because executive owns the business case. The ROI, return on investment, etc., will be prepared by the executive. These are all combined together and combined into project brief. Project brief talks about what the project, what are the objectives, etc. As the first cut, it is prepared by the project manager and going for approval to the board. Right. Business case presents a mix of information to judge if the project is and continues to remain desirable, viable, and achievable. For instance, business case will talk about what are the multiple options covered, what is the return on cost, what are the benefits, what are the negative benefits, right? What is the investment appraisal? All of them will be there as a part of the business case. One of the important principles of PRINCE2 is what we call continued business justification. Many times we take up a project without understanding why this project is required, what is the linkage of the project with strategic objective, etc. So, business case talks about the linkage with corporate strategy and also the viability of the project. Thereafter, project product description will be prepared by the PM. So the project manager will consult with senior user and executive to create the project product description. We call PPD. The PPD will contain the customer's quality expectations, acceptance criteria, what are the deliverables at a macro level, etc. will be there as a part of PPD. Executive will prepare the first cut business case. These have to be approved by project board. Now, PRINCE2 talks about two toll gates. Two toll gates in the sense that the first toll gate is the project brief and second toll gate as we call PID, project initiation documentation. Can you think why two toll gates are important in a project? What is the additional advantage by having two toll gates approved by the board? Can you type in your responses? Why two toll gates are important or advantageous in a PRINCE2 project? Why don't we simply jump into the project? I'll repeat the question. Why two toll gates? What are the advantages of having a first project brief approved and the PID approved before we start resourcing for the project? Think through and type in your responses. I am just going ahead. After SU, starting of the project, we go to initiating the project. Initiating the project is the place where all the planning work takes place. For instance, the risk management strategy, risk register, configuration management strategy, quality management strategy, quality register, communication management strategy, project controls, which talks about how many number of stages, the detailed project plan, product description for sub-products, how the PRINCE2 has to be tailored, detailed business case and benefit review plan. These are all prepared as a part of the initiating the project. So in a sense, what we call the PM plan in detail gets prepared as a part of initiating the project. Most of the work during initiating the project is the responsibility of the project manager. So let us see what happens in major actions which are done here. The first one is risk management strategy and risk register. Risk management strategy is prepared by the project manager to give an overall guideline on how the risks have to be handled in the project. Now, can you type in the difference between what is the difference between risk and issue? How do you differentiate between a risk and issue? Okay, Manoj talks about risk is a probability. Issue is problem in hand. That's right. So, risk is uncertainty. Something may happen, may not happen. Issue is something which has happened. So, we are talking about risk management here, which may happen, may not happen. So, the project manager prepares the guidance document called risk management strategy and also captures all the risk in the risk register. PRINCE2 talks about a sort of a cycle for risk management, which talks about identifying the risk, assessment of the risk, talking about what is the probability, impact and proximity of the risk, and We plan for the risk responses, that is assuming the risk are going to happen, what are the risk response plans that you are going to have, and who is going to implement the risk responses. The risk need to be communicated throughout the project. Do you think project manager alone can identify all the risks? You can type in your responses. Do we think PM can alone identify all the risk in the project? No. Why not? You can also give the reason why PM alone cannot identify all the risk. I'm going further. So, the PM is responsible for producing the risk management strategy and maintaining the risk register. And the risk need to be communicated at various reports, including checkpoint report, highlight report, end stage report, end project report, and lessons report. That's right, Subhash, what he says absolutely correct. Technical risks need to be identified by the team manager. And Somita also talks about the risk being coming from multiple stakeholders. That's right. Okay. PM need not be specialized in all functions. That's also Manoj says is absolutely correct. So the project manager just maintains the risk register, but multiple subject matter experts, including team managers, vendors, users, and even corporate, etc., can log in the risk register. Now, some time back I talked about the difference between checkpoint report and highlight report. What is the difference between checkpoint report and highlight report? Who sends checkpoint report to whom? And who sends highlight report to whom? Can you please type in? Repeat the question. Who sends checkpoint report to whom? And who sends highlight report to whom? Right, as people are typing, I am going ahead. The total exposure for the project needs to be continuously updated. Checkpoint report team manager to team members. No, not correct. Not correct. Checkpoint report is going from team manager to the project manager. And what is highlight report? Who is sending highlight report to whom? Right, as people are typing, I will request all the people to participate. Okay, I see only few people are typing, so please highlight report PM to top management. That's right. What Manoj says is correct. It's actually project manager to the board. Top management is not exactly correct. Project board is a highlight report, like a snapshot report. Right, once in 2 weeks, the PM can send to the project board. Many of you know configuration management. Configuration talk about how we can maintain the version control release management of the products. We also talk about the issue management, how the issues are all captured, effectively measured, and also actioned upon. All the guidelines are presented in the configuration management strategy, which is also prepared by the project manager. PM also prepare the quality management strategy, which talks about the guidelines that will be used for implementing quality in the project, which can mean that what type of a system I'm going to use, like ISO or a CMMI or some other system, whether I need to take care of supplier quality system and customer quality systems will also be put as a part of quality management strategy. Project manager will also open the quality register, talking about what is the actions, quality actions which will be taken in the project. Communication management strategy is the fourth strategy that is prepared in the project. So the communication management strategy talks about who is communicating to whom, what are the periodicities, what are the escalation procedures. Typically, it takes care of all the communication needs of the preceding three strategies. So essentially, we talked about 4 management strategies. Can somebody type in what are the 4 management strategies the project manager will prepare? There are 4 strategies. Just type in the names of the strategies. I'm going further. PRINCE2 provides a sort of a structured approach to, yes, Manoj says is correct, risk. I would request others also to participate. Configuration, that's right. communication, one more. Right. Prince2 talks about, no, not planning. Subhash is typing. Let's see what is the typing. Quality. That's right. So risk management, configuration management, communication management, and quality management are the four strategies which are prepared for the project. Prince2 also talks about approach to progress, which talks about dividing the project into multiple stages and giving authority for the project manager one stage at a time, and also delegating tolerances for the team managers. So essentially, as we said, there are four layers in a project. Corporate or program management talks about the project tolerances. To give an example, the project should be over in 14 months, plus or minus 2 months, right? That becomes the project tolerance. Within the project tolerance, the project board has the authority to allocate stage level tolerances for the project manager. For instance, it can say, for instance, stage 1 may have 2 weeks tolerance, stage 2 may have 3 weeks tolerance, etc., cascading up to the project level tolerance. Within the stage tolerance, project manager has got the responsibility for allocating work package level tolerance to team manager. So he can say a work package may have 3 days plus or minus 1 day. That type of a tolerance is allocated by PM to the team manager. So the team manager sends back work package progress and checkpoint reports and issues, and similarly project manager sends back highlight reports and stage progress to the project board, and the project board in turn can send back certain highlight report to the corporate. So this is the way we allocate tolerances, and also the reporting structure which happens from bottom to top, and also taking care of the control. Coming to the reports, there are two types of reports are all produced in Prince2, event driven and time driven. Now can you please type out what is the difference between event driven and time driven reports? What is the difference between event driven reports and time driven reports? For instance, time driven reports are all at a periodic time, like a weekly, monthly reports, etc. What are event driven reports? What do you mean by event driven reports? Can you type in, please? What do we mean by event driven reports? Right, completion activity events, that's right. Manoj says that's correct. Completion of certain events or stages, what Shabuddin says is also correct. So event driven is at the end of an event, end of the stage, end of the work package, end of the project, etc. can be event driven. Timesheet analysis or time driven, like weekly reports or monthly reports, which are all going. Only there are two time driven reports, checkpoint reports and highlight reports. They're all time driven reports. All the other reports like a risk report, issue report, end stage report, etc., they become event driven. So these are the multiple reports which are sent by the project manager to the project board, and also the team manager to the project manager. Coming to plans, Prince2 recommends there are three plans: project plan, stage plan, and team plan. Let's look at a macro level what are these things stand for. Project plan stands for the project, what the project manager will use to control the project. So it includes the major products, activities, and resources, and that becomes more like an MS project type of a plan, including schedule, including resources, cost, etc., which are used by the project manager to control the project. Stage plan is produced for a particular stage. For instance, the project may be having 4 stages, so you don't produce all the 4 stage plans at one go. You will produce one stage plan at a time for controlling in a micro level, which I talked about. So can you tell when will you produce the next stage plan? When I say I produce one stage plan at a time, suppose you are in end of stage 3. When will you produce stage plan for stage 4? You can type in your responses. I'll repeat the question. You are in middle of a stage, say stage 3. when will you produce stage 4 plan? At which event you will produce stage 4 plan? As you are typing, I'm going further. The project may have multiple stage plans, right, depending upon the number of stages. Team plans are produced by the team manager. For instance, a particular stage may have 5 products and they're all grouped into 3 work packages. Work packages are groups of products. So 1 and 2 deliverable is one work package, say maybe 2, 3 deliverables, 3 and 4 are another work package, etc. Right. What Manoj says is before completion of stage 3, I would request others also to participate. We want all the people to participate. What Manoj says is correct. At the end of stage 3, you will produce stage plan 4 and then get the board approval. Right. So team plans are produced by the team manager. See, one thing we need to remember, team managers need not always come from PRINCE2 environment. Some of the team managers may be implementing from PRINCE2, some of them could be from PMI, some of them could be from CMMI. So they can come from external vendors also. Exception plans are those substitution plans which are produced when a stage or a project is expected to cross a tolerance. We talked about tolerance some time back. Assuming, for instance, stage 4 has got 2 weeks tolerance and the project manager thinks during the middle of the stage that things are going out of control. So he will expect to cross a 2-week tolerance, right? The current stage is no longer viable. So he will produce a substitution plan called exception plan and get the approval of project board. Once project board approves, the exception plan substitutes the original base plan, which is a stage plan. So cost and schedules, they're all presented and milestones get defined. The resource requirements are all aggregated and the overall plan is produced and presented to the top management, which is the board. We also talked about briefly the business case. So the business case is refined from the detailed project plan, and benefit review plan, which talks about when the benefits have to be measured, is also produced by the project manager. Do you think project manager is responsible for getting the benefits? Who will get the benefits? Or who will reap the benefits? Which role will define the benefits? Can you please type in? I would like this response. Which role will define the benefit and reap the benefit? Please type in. We talked about a couple of roles, right? Executive, senior user, senior supplier. My question is, which role will get the benefit? As you are typing, I am going further. Board. No, I am asking which particular role. Yes, Subhash is correct. Senior users. Senior users like head of marketing, head of sales, etc. are the people who are going to define the benefit and reap the benefit. Good. So the point I am trying to drive is business case and the benefit review plan, which I call BRP, are the only two documents which may outlive the project. For instance, the current market share is 10% and you want to go to 11% market share after 3 years, right? These benefits can come post project. It becomes the responsibility of the project manager to finish the project, but he wouldn't be there actually when the benefits are getting realized. So the benefit review plan will define the responsibilities for defining and reaping the benefits. It will be most likely from the senior user side that can outlive the project. The final one is assemble the pit. Assemble the pit talks about assembling all the strategies, assembling the detailed business case, assembling the project tailoring, etc. To become a single repository document for the project manager. Sorry. Now the pit gets approved by the board, and towards the end of initiation stage, the PM will invoke the managing stage boundary to produce the next stage plan. Controlling a stage talks about day-to-day control of the work by the project manager. For instance, the board gives authority to run one stage at a time, so the project manager controls the stage by liaising with the team manager. I'll quickly run through this what it is happening, and this diagram is good enough. We are not getting into the PPTs. What it says is The middle line is talking about controlling a stage. Middle arrow. So that interface with managing product delivery. Managing product delivery is done by which role? Which role takes care of managing product delivery? Please type it. So the project manager allocates work packages to that role and gets back completed work packages from that role. So I would like to check with you which role is responsible for managing product delivery. Please type in. Yes, Subhash is absolutely correct. Team managers are responsible. So the PM will allocate work packages to the team managers. Team managers can send back checkpoint reports, issues and updated quality register and configuration item record, and completed work packages come back to the project manager. So the PM will send highlight report to the project board, and PM can also raise some issues and risks to the project board. This happens throughout the project life. So this is, in a way, I should say 95% of the project effort goes in controlling a stage and managing product delivery, because this represents a desk work of the project manager, where the PM controls the work and also reports back on the progress to the board. This being the case, a steady flow of information on the stage is needed. Typically, as a part of the plan, you would say that when will you formally review the stage status? Although you could do daily, in large project, daily will be not feasible. So you could maybe review the progress once in a week formally. So when the end of the current stage is approaching, the project manager need to look at the managing stage boundary or closing the project as needed. Issues and risks can arise during the controlling the stage. So whenever an issue is arising, the project manager will log in the issue register and find out what is the severity and priority of the issue and create an issue report and send to the project board. Similarly, when the risks are all arising, the PM could do the impact analysis and do the probability and impact assessment and send to the escalate to the project board accordingly. So in a way, as we said, this controlling a stage represents the core of project management. Controlling a stage interfaces with managing product delivery. Work packages get allocated to the team. Checkpoint reports are received from the team, and finally, the final delivered work packages are coming back to the project manager. So this represents sort of a link between the project manager and the team manager. As a part of fifth process, managing a stage boundary, project manager, when he reaches the edge of the stage, that is the end of the current stage, he will assemble and update the project plan, business case, benefit review plan, all the strategies, the PIT getting reviewed and then put up to board for approval. In a way, it is mini initiating the stage, because initiating a project, you are creating all the strategies, and managing a stage boundary, you are updating all the strategies and project plan and business case and putting up to the board for approval. Am I not audible? Please type back, is it audible or no? Okay, some people say it is audible, so please adjust your speakers. Also, I would like to go to 5:15. Is it okay? Because we started a little late. I would like to take another 15-20 minutes. Is it fine? Right. So managing a stage boundary, talk about the edge of the stage and creating the next stage plan. So what are we doing is, when we reach the end of the stage, creation of next stage plan, updation of all registers. Registers include risk register, issue register, etc. They are being updated by the project manager, and project plan is getting updated. Updation of business case and benefit review plan is done by the project manager, and if need be, create lessons report on follow-on action recommendations. Typically that is done at the end of the project, but sometimes you could do in the middle of the project, and report staging to the project board. So what we are doing is, managing stage boundary is done at the end of each stage except the last stage where closing the project takes over. So, the purpose of closing a project process is to provide a fixed point at which acceptance of the project product is confirmed or that the project has nothing more to contribute. What you are telling is projects can close normally or abnormally. For normal closure, it is the final sign off, UAT, you can call that, user acceptance testing. So the acceptance of the project product is confirmed, or if the project is getting into abnormal closure due to external reasons, etc., right, the board will signify the project needs to close and then tell nothing more to be contributing. Closing the project brings the project in orderly end. That's why we call projects in a controlled environment. So let's see what happens at the point of closing the project. So project manager will call for an account called product status account, which talks about what is the status of all the products. It should be 100% completed for normal closure. Update the project plan for the last time. Update PID, project initiation documentation. Update BRP and obtain the acceptance record. For a normal closure, you will be updating the final sign off from the customer. It is also important for the project manager to create an end project report. Okay. Manoj is asking, can we get PPT? Yes, it will come to you. It will be given to all the registered users. Right. So the project manager will create the end project report and also get the lessons report and close all the registers. Draft project closure notification is given to the board and board can close the project. So the PM will update the project plan for the last time. Okay, give notice for the team to be disbanding, and project could also be prematurely closed. The project product, that is the final product, is handed over to the maintenance team. The project manager also prepares follow-on action recommendation telling that what needs to be done post-project. For instance, maintenance support to be done or user maintenance to be done at periodic intervals, etc. That is given by the project manager. End project report and lessons report. Lessons report talks about what went right, what went wrong, etc. That is prepared by the project manager and handed over to the board. Directing the project is more from the board perspective. Okay, so you need to imagine you are like a board member. So you will be approving deliverables. The first major deliverable is the project brief, which is produced at the end of starting the project, PIT that is approved as a part of IP, each stage plan, and also the issue report, exception plan, and end project report. These are all approved by the project board. So essentially this talks about the approval delegated responsibility of the board. Right, now we shift to the what's the PRINCE2 exam pattern, etc. From QI, we do a 5-day course on PRINCE2. We take care that all the concepts are all well captured to the audience. We don't look at only the exam perspective and we get very good ratings. Now let us look at the PRINCE2 exam pattern. Foundation exam is 1 hour's duration. It's a closed book. There are 75 questions in all. Out of these, there are 5 trial questions which are put by APMG. And out of non-trial 70 questions, you need to get 35 or more to pass. Now, some of you may be terrified it is a closed book, but it is not. Exam is fairly simple and we get 100% pass rate in the foundation exam. Now, coming to practitioner. Practitioner will come on 5th day in a complete running course, but this is a slightly different course which I'm going to talk about then. Right? Practitioner exam will run for 2.5 hours. There are 8 questions, 10 marks each for 80 marks total. You need to score 44 or more marks to pass this exam. During this exam, you can refer to only PRINCE2 manual, which is published by the APMG, but not other reference document. Now let's see what is the blended learning model. See, typically what are the challenges we have faced is many of the candidates are not able to take leave for, let us take 5 days at a stretch, because we run ILT instructor-led program for 5 days at a stretch. Most of the people are not able to take leave for 5 days from work. And also, since we are covering exam as well as the syllabus as the part of the course, most of the people find it a little hard to focus, in the sense that many people have to go back and do office work, etc. So we are having an alternate model telling that foundation you can do through e-learning. So we have got an arrangement with ILX. Some of you know about ILX Global. ILX Global is the leading e-learning authority for all APMG products. They are the having the world-class product for all the APMG products, including Prince2. So, as per this agreement, once we register with QI, we'll provide you ILX e-learning license for foundation course. Because foundation is takes more time and you may do offline whenever you are free. Typically these e-learning licenses are provided for about 2 to 3 months, so you can log in and then practice whenever you are free based from office work and pressures, etc. And once you are conversant with the e-learning material, then KOI will administer the foundation exam. And once you clear the foundation exam, you come for the ILT, but is done by the QI. Typically, it is a 2-day course, and we run multiple case studies, multiple scenarios, and multiple templates we take for the practitioner exam, and then we administer the practitioner exam. So the point is, foundation course offline through e-learning, foundation exam 1 hour exam, for that only need to come to QI, and after that you can register back to back with the practitioner course which runs for 2 days, and practitioner exam which runs for 2.5 hours as a part of 2 days. Now, what are the advantages? Maybe you can type in what are the advantages of blended learning by having right. Jitendra say how complex comparing to PMP. That's a good question. See, Jitendra, if you look at PMP, because I also handle PMP and other things, PMP syllabus is very vast, whereas Prince2 syllabus is somewhat less, and you need to be clear about the manual only. What we talk about the manual and the PowerPoint and the case study, that is enough. You don't have to go beyond that. PMP, as you know, there are a lot of reference books, a lot of websites. That's why people take about 2 to 3 months after the training and go to Prometric Center for the exam. But here, this is more like a what we call immersion course. Immersion means you just dip for 5 days and then you come out. So that model is very appealing to many of the practitioners. So 5 days you need to work hard, but after that you get the certification. Is it okay, Jitendra? So I would like the participants to articulate what are the advantages you see in this blended learning model. Right, Jitendra, I will talk about the cost later. Typically it will cost about 30,000 rupees, 30 plus service taxes. That includes everything in the sense that e-learning material plus Prince2 manual plus foundation exam plus practitioner course and practitioner exam together come for around 30,000. And we can write to us so that we can there are some corporate discounts. We can talk about that case to case. Right, Subhash talks about offline study. It's extremely important because what we have seen is, right, foundation we cover the entire course, and many people struggle to go back and then again read in the home. Many times you may not get time due to office mail or similar thing. So offline, since you are able to read little calmly, you are able to grasp the material much better, and then without tension you can take the foundation exam and then to practitioner. Right. So, the fundamental concepts of Prince2 model can be learned offline using a world-class e-learning offering from ILX. So, the ILX thing talks about they themselves have module and quizzes with some marks and tips, etc. so that you can self-mark yourself before actually appearing for the foundation exam. Right, so this is an essence of what I need to talk from, and this is my email ID ramani.s@qaglobal.com. So you can note down and you can write to me for further clarifications, and you can also write to the QA BDs. I think many of you may be interacting with Ankit or other people. You can also write to them on what do they require and how do they require the licenses. They will be able to assist you. Is that okay? Thanks for being there. Any further queries you can type in. Right, thanks a lot. Bye.